here's the thing. Even though we're at the winter meetings, I mean, if this off season is still, if we're comparing it to humans, it's still just older than a toddler, right? It's not very old yet. There's plenty of time left where moves will be made. And if he's keeping his cards close to the vest, that's cool. So a lot of things could happen. But again, I'm starting to buy into the idea that Eduardo Rodriguez is tradable. Otherwise, I just don't think he has a whole lot to deal. That's why I just think if any thought is being given to competing in 23, you got to look at the free agent market, and maybe that's just not in his plan. We'll just have to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I guess a question I would have is looking at the roster, they do have young guys like Lipsius, like Perez, like Parker Meadows, like Ryan Kredler. Is there an actual realistic possibility, like Chris said, where it's just going to be a gap year and they're just going to develop young players and give them opportunities? That's kind of what I don't see that happening, but I definitely think it's a possibility.
Well, Scott, go ahead. I just think that what they do at third base will kind of answer John's question. If they challenge themselves to get better than Jeimer Candelario, then you can say, okay, that's the direction they're moving. They've challenged themselves to get better, and that's why they got rid of him. Or are they going to plug in Lipsius or Kreidler and live with the youngsters' growing pains? And that would signal kind of a different direction.
Man.
As far as Lipsius goes and Kreidler goes, look, the bottom line is, to me, they're going to have to. I think this is a year and he mentioned this yesterday while talking to the media, that he's going to benchmark. They're going to save some innings and give some time for these young players, and they have to, because they have to see what they have in the system once and for all. If you look at, if you think about this year, it was oddly enough, Avila's final year, there wasn't a lot of call-ups till after he left. I mean, you didn't see Brandon Davis was sitting there almost the entire year. They didn't call him up till the last possible minute. You didn't see, again, we saw the story of Josh Lester finally getting a call up, but they were, again, all towards the tail end of the year, when even last year they weren't very aggressive on making call ups. And it was just, for whatever reason, like they had, when they had a couple of players like Yooper and Jon Rodriguez, for example, who led the minor leagues in all the categories, they didn't call him up. They knew what he was. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't a guy that would be a household name, but it was just interesting to me that they didn't really see exactly what they had in the cupboard until this year. So this is, I think, go ahead, Chris. What are you going to say?
Well, I mean, Avila had put all his chips on the table. We're competing this year. They signed the big free agents. And so, and then when everything went to hell, he didn't have an answer. And certainly at that point, you can't say, this sucked. Just let the young kids play. So he was kind of in a corner. I do think, that they want to, the next big step, I guess, for Tigers developmentally is getting one of these late round guys to hit as more than like a big leaguer. Like we've talked about, they've taken that next step where they're getting guys to the big leagues in the later rounds and making guys in the later rounds interesting prospects where they didn't do that before. But now they need a Lipsius to show up or someone like that and actually outperform his prospect ranking. Pull a St. Louis Cardinals where he just becomes Tommy Edman. Like what the hell? How did this guy continue to get better and better without ever being a top 100 prospect? That's what they need. And so maybe they think they have that, or they want to see that.